Captain's Log Supplemental. So I downloaded an emulator for some old Earth games. I'm currently playing a game called Euro Truck Simulator. My chief engineer swears that this is like peak 21st century entertainment. I can't figure out for the life of me how to turn off my truck's radio, and every time I step on the gas, my engine shuts off. I swear I will never again make fun of another captain that gets thrust back into the age of combustion engines for struggling with ancient-ass cars.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Captain's Log Supplemental. I'm firing right up, trying to catch my co-hosts off guard, but I don't think it worked. They are Chris and Rob. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hi.
And, of course, we are joined by our lovely producer, Mariah.
Hi there.
Captain's Log Supplemental, watching Star Trek, chronological order. We're in the 4th season of Enterprise. If I sound a little exasperated, it's because this is the 2nd episode we're recording tonight. So, I had to watch 2 episodes of this fucking show today. So I'm a little on edge.
Yeah, but, I like myself, so I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Samesies.
But if you could throw us a rate, a review, tell your friends about us. We are having fun, even if what we're watching is terrible. So, Rob, I hear you got something to tell us.
I do. I was perusing Reddit, and I saw that Connor Trenier got married. So, congratulations, Connor.
So,
who's
I'm not good
Trenier?
with names.
It's Trip.
Oh, him and T'Pol finally tied the knot?
No. He married Jackie Robin Smith. Apparently, she's a realtor.
Congrats.
What a weird thing to, talk about on the internet.
Yep.
And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Who gives a fuck? But obviously somebody does. Because, and I'm not blaming Connor. Connor is Connor. He's doing his life. But, somebody on Reddit was like, oh, I'm telling everybody the fact that Connor just got married to some realtor in California.
Well, no, it was obviously a fan. So I just posted the link that they had shared. It was from his Instagram. They saw, the wedding announcement, and they were just sharing it on the Star Trek sub. That's all.
I gotta look at the wedding pics.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, I don't understand celebrity culture.
I did like the joke that the first respondent to the Reddit post said, where it said that, they really let Porthos Wake get away from him.
That is a big puppy. Oh, their cake looks nice, though.
Yeah.
So here's a fun fact about Mariah and me. We actually make wedding cakes. We did Rob's wedding cake.
Yeah. Delicious.
And we've done, how many have we done now, honey?
5?
Is that right? Yeah, that sounds about right.
You were talking about me baking in the last episode.
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah, so Mariah decorates them, though. I am the baker. So I bake the cakes and she decorates them because I'm pretty good at baking, but I am not artistic in the way that you need to be in order to decorate a cake. That is not what I'm good at.
I like cake.
It's got gold leaf and shit on it. It's a pretty good looking cake.
No, I want cake.
I am surprised at how small this wedding is, considering that he's a rich person.
Well, this is also his second wedding. So,
Oh, he doesn't love her as much as he loved the first one? Is that what you're saying?
No, it just, usually second weddings are a little more low-key.
Yeah? Was that true for you, honey? I know the answer. The answer is no, because our wedding was a fucking blast. Although, Chris, you didn't make it out for our wedding, did you?
No, I did not.
Yeah. Because you
There
were
was an orchestra.
You had to. There was a big band, actually.
Yeah.
But you came out for Rob's wedding, which is the same year, but at the end of the year. So
Yeah. So yeah, I love him more. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I mean, you have known him longer and slept in his house, so it's fine.
God, we've known each other since middle school. That's crazy.
A long time.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a long time.
Y'all bonded over those Eiffel Towers or whatever y'all were doing in there.
In middle school?
Jesus, no. It's fucked up. That's really gross of you, Chris. How dare you? Anyway, Star Trek.
What a segue.
Oh man, I should not do 2 of these in a row. So coincidentally, in the fact that we're doing 2 of these in a row, these episodes were actually related. This is the conclusion of a 3-part episode about Brett Spiner showing everyone how acting works.
Oh man, I just had the horrifying thought of what if we had done all 3 of these episodes back to back to back.
Oh man, this last one I would have been so fucking mad.
Remember,
-1 out of 5.
Mariah, were you the one who recommended we just record like a whole bunch of these in a row, shotgun? Like,
I did.
yeah.
This is what happens when we do 2 of them.
Yeah, it's not good.
When we get to like the animated series, I bet we could fire off a few of them because like they're like 30-minute episodes.
Oh god, are we really gonna do the animated series?
Yeah, it's canon, Rob. Shut your goddamn mouth.
Have you watched
With
any
as
of the
much
animated
complaining
series?
as I've done about with as much complaining as I've done about this episode, about this show, like you, it's your turn.
All right, I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler alert.
It's Hanna-Barbera.
Enterprise is not my least favorite Star Trek.
Wow.
I'm trying to decide if it's mine. I guess it is. Although I can't really say that because I haven't watched the original or the animated. So like, how do I make that declaration?
Oh, it's not the original series either. It's the animated series.
But of the ones I've watched, this is definitely my least favorite.
Ugh.
They all turn into kids, Rob. And the Kazin show up.
That is true. That is a weird thing that happened.
All right, so last we left our intrepid hero. He was trying to climb up a ladder well real fast. Luckily, thanks to the magic of movies, we didn't have to watch his old ass like arthritis climb up this fucking ladder well for 4 minutes. We just cut right to him being at the top of it.
I feel like they should just turn the gravity off in these tubes. Like, don't use the gravity hull plating or whatever in them.
You know, there has been a rather inconsistent degree to which like Star Trek shows have been able to control gravity quickly. So maybe they can't. I don't know. He goes up to the top. He's got to do some relays. Reed's kind of talking him through it, kind of, but also like this is a really complicated procedure that he just kind of knows how to do. You got to pull this thing out, then put this thing in, and then push some buttons and yada yada yada.
He looked like he was just swapping like some really long, hot swappable hard drives.
Mm-hmm.
Long, hot swappable hard drives.
It's like I didn't order this pizza with a long, hot swappable hard drive on it.
Chris just killed himself.
They've got less than a minute. Done. Faith of the heart. Okay, so he manages to save everyone down in the lab, but the problem is that he's not in the lab. He doesn't have time to get Dad back. He doesn't have time to old man crawl back down the ladder. So his plan is to have the Enterprise shoot the hatch at the top of the ladder well so that he'll decompress and throw him out so that he's far enough away that they can transport. Fortunately for him, this works because in my brain, I was like, is he just going to bounce around through the fucking ladder well until he's dead? Because, like...
I mean, hey, man, you should be an expert at this now. You've been playing some Shipbreaker lately.
Yeah, I only just recently, like in the last ship, figured out how to safely decompress those, like, exterior compartments.
Oh, it's so fun.
Because they did not tell you how to do that. It's like, open the door, dumbass. Oh, that works. Yeah.
Speaking of which, this is this whole scene with him beaming him out of space is just classic Hollywood. That's not what happens in space.
My notes are: this is terrible CGI, followed by lol, frozen Archer. What the fuck?
Yeah, they do not freeze immediately in space because like heat transfer doesn't work the same way in space.
No, it works very poorly.
To be fair, let's be fair. To be fair. We don't know what the air was like that he was rushing out with. If it was pretty humid, it would cling to him as it sublimated. Not sublimated, the opposite of sublimating, whatever that is. So I guess theoretically he could end up with like a sheen of frost on him from that.
That was all of.
How's that bucket that you're carrying? Is it full of the water you're carrying for this show right now?
No, it's full of all of the frozen pathogens that were stuck to Archer's face.
No, they hadn't. No, Rob, didn't you hear? The pathogens hadn't gotten to him yet because that's how air circulation works. Unlike in Detroit, where everything goes through the one fan and it instantaneously infects the whole city. In the station, the pathogen takes time to get through the air.
Listen, they had like 2 centuries to nail down HVAC. Like, they're good now.
Also, I'll note that he like hyperventilates before he gets pushed out, which is actually the exact opposite of what you should do. Going into the vacuum of space and being a person who is trained in EVAs, he should know this.
Although actually they're not 100% sure on that because like physiologically we're pretty sure you can hold your breath in vacuum because like your muscles are strong enough to do that. Like just keep your mouth closed.
This is not what I've read on the subject.
Like I know it's like your breath will go whooshing out of your face. Actually, not really because there's no pressure on your chest. So like, yes, it is less than 1 atmosphere outside. It is 0 atmospheres, but also like you can fill your mouth with a pretty high amount of pressure just by like puffing out your cheeks and stuff. So like your muscles can hold in a pretty good amount of pressure.
Listen, I think the real question everybody wants to know the answer to is, would it suck the poop out of your butt?
That's the real question.
Would it? Oh my god, that's a great question. Holy shit. I didn't think it. Wait, yeah, because you don't have that kind of control. I think it might, Rob. Oh my god.
I don't know. Have you tried? I mean,
Okay,
you have a lot of control on your
thank you
sphincter.
all for listening to Captain's Log Supplemental. It's a rewatch
Look, we're
podcast.
asking the important
we're done.
questions, okay?
Inquiring minds
Do you
want
think
to
they
know.
left that in space when they beamed him out? It's just like, we left your shit in space, Captain, because you pooped your pants.
Oh man, I saw a video of like a marathon runner. And there's like cameras next to her.
I saw that.
Oh,
I saw
no.
that.
And she's like, I just shit my pants. Just get the waist up, please. Like,
No, she literally said, I just shit myself. Please don't get my ass on camera.
yeah, on camera.
Oh, man. Fucking marathon runners, man. There's something right there.
Oh man.
Okay. All right. So we cut back from Archer being frozen on the teleportation pad, having just shit himself, to Brett Spiner on the bird of prey. Spiner's fathering technique here seems to be let's threaten my genetic superhuman child.
Yeah, Daddy Song is angry.
So Spider's basically like, hey man, stop fucking killing everybody. And Malik's like, but I like killing people. And Sung's like, well, stop it. And Malik's like, meh. Like fatherhood. Am I right, Chris? Like, just
Oh man, just like that.
Back in the Enterprise, Archer's getting checked out by the doctor. I guess they gave him a fresh change of pants.
That's canonical now.
They're trying to okay, so I guess here's what I don't understand. The Augments killed some Klingons. The Klingons are like, yo, bitch, your humans came over and killed a bunch of us. Fucking deal with it. And the humans are like, no problem. We will deal with it. But now they're like, well, we have to sneak into Klingon territory. Did the Klingons not be like, come get them? Wasn't that the whole fucking point?
Like the Klingons are like women, dark and mysterious. You never know what they're gonna do.
Is that racist?
I think it's incelly, at least.
Yes, I was making a joke. Sorry.
So I guess so they're gonna have to go into Klingon space under like disguise, and Trip's like, I could paint a bird of prey on our hull, that's a funny joke. That's a funny fucking joke.
That is the best quote of this entire series. Because not only do the Romulans do that very thing, but also it's just fucking funny to think about.
You know, it just occurred to me right now that he meant draw a bird on it, like on the bottom of the bird of prey. I was thinking he like meant like draw like the spaceship on the hull. I didn't think about it. He was just going to draw the fucking bird. That is funny.
No,
Shit.
I thought it was a joke about the Romulan bird of prey.
Well, the Klingon bird of prey also has a bird on the underside.
It
if you
does,
look at
yeah.
it.
It's not as like
does it?
as
It's a little
birdy
more
as a bird.
stylized, but yeah.
Yeah,
That's why it's got
Oh,
those
I
red,
didn't
like,
realize that.
pointy panels. They're feathers and stuff on the bottom.
yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Let's stop talking about bird of prey because this is my potpourri later. So
God damn it.
We are so good at this.
We've been doing this for too long already.
man.
Quick, Stanford, what's your deep dive?
Well, we're about to get there, actually. Apparently it's going to take about a year to get Cold Station 12 cleaned up, which seems short, if I'm honest, like a year. Fucking PennDOT can't do a pothole in less than that. Like, that's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, governments, am I right, guys?
Spiner says, well, Malik's like, where are we going? Spiner says, or Dr. Soong, whatever you want to call him, says, we're going to go to the Briar Patch. This is actually a reference to Star Trek Insurrection, which is, like, it would be a weird reference, except that this episode not only stars Brett Spiner, who was in Star Trek Insurrection, it was also directed by LeVar Burton. So, yeah.
Also, they got the chair from Insurrection, as we covered earlier. So.
That's right. Yeah. I'm not surprised that it's the director is LeVar Burton. Spoiler alert. But yes.
Dude,
so
there's so much fourth wall breaking in this episode. Like, it's wild.
Yeah, I've got like an all caps note about that at the end. But we're about to get there right now too, because Malik talks about the Botany Bay, which that is my deep dive. However, like, I'm annoyed at the, like, have you ever heard of the Botany Bay? Turn to the audience, wink, like, okay, we get it. Thank you. But then, like, they're actually talking about it, and they're like, well, it's a myth. All the records of it were erased. Okay, where did these kids hear about it?
Somehow only the second worst wink to the audience of this episode.
Somehow, too.
Yeah.
How did these kids hear about the Botany Bay when Soong clearly didn't tell them? Who the fuck did they hear it from? They've literally known no one except for Soong.
It was implanted in their genome.
Shit, fair enough. All right, asked and answered. Okay, so back on Enterprise, we decide that we can change our warp signature to look like a Klingon battle cruiser or some shit. There's a lot of like weird warp signature stuff that goes on in this episode, which I find silly. Like, it seems like if we can just change our warp signature, then what's the point of having one? Oh, I thought Chris was going to make a pertinent point, but he was just sighing. So yeah, but they're just gonna change our warp signature. That's handy. Tucker says that like it'll work as long as we're outside of like 80,000 kilometers, which is closer to us than the moon. So like a pair of binoculars could see the Enterprise at that point. So yeah, I'm assuming it wouldn't work.
Yeah, but also good thing space is freaking huge.
Yeah, thankfully. We quick cut back to the Bird of Prey, which actually, thinking about all the quick cuts, yeah, it is not surprising that LeVar Burton directed this. Yep. We're in Dr. Soong's lab, which is an advanced like genetics laboratory upon this, Klingon spaceship. So of course his desk is covered in like apothecary glasses filled with random powders and liquids.
Yeah, if you're doing science, you need beakers, okay?
There's literally one that looks like it's stopped with a cork.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the CRISPR bottle.
It's the CRISPR bottle. It looks like he's about to make a fucking poultice or like a salve or some other apothecary word.
We need blue liquids, we need green liquids, and we need beakers.
Some sort of tincture.
We need grains, grams, drams,
we need a scale.
other apothecary system shit.
We need one of them mortar and pestles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Malik is like, what are you doing? And Soong is like, well, so I've got your...
You know how you're super murdery?
Yeah. Soong's basically like, so you, right? And how you suck? Well, I'm editing your embryo siblings to be better than you. And Malik's like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, see these genes here? They're what make you an asshole. I'm going to take those out. And Malik's like, I don't what? No?
I love that Malik here goes, what right do you have to tamper with their genome?
Great accidental line, because it's like, wait, what? Aren't you a genetic modification clone thing? Like, everyone's got the right, apparently.
They're humanity's future, Stanford.
However, they are alerted to the fact that there is a vessel approaching. They are at warp, which is by definition faster than light. However, they somehow managed to get a visual range image of the Enterprise. I do not know how that works.
Shut up.
It's very blue shifted.
The Enterprise catches up. They're like, shoot at the bird of prey. The bird of prey shoots back. Archers like concentrate fire on their engines. We then get like a CGI cut of the torpedoes hitting the ship just pretty much everywhere. Like there was no concentrated fire whatsoever. Just wherever you can hit them, it's fine.
It worked. Did you see that shower of sparks?
There were so many sparks.
when they talked to Soong?
Malik's like, turn around, let's fucking shoot them. And Soong's like, no, they outnumber us like, or they out-weapon us like 4-1 or whatever, which is, that doesn't sound correct because like it's a bird of prey. Well, like whatever. They still apparently have this Denobulan woman with them.
Yeah.
So they like...
No screen time for her, by the way.
No, she doesn't actually show up on screen. So they put her in her shuttle and then do this weird like tractor beam stone skip maneuver on this planet that they're near. And like let her go into the atmosphere, and Soong messages Archer, and Archer's like, what the fuck was that, man? And Soong's like, well, it's gonna take about 4 hours for her to die, so go ahead and rescue her, bye. And they just head off.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a good villain.
I guess while they're doing that, Malik goes and talks to Soong, is like, I dispersed our warp trail, because apparently we can just do that too, so I don't know why we didn't. And he's like, by the way, I got this cool plan, Dad. Okay, hear me out. How about we do a genocide?
Yeah.
You know how you're
excited.
famously always liked it when I murder people?
Yeah. Okay, so I think the problem you've had with me murdering people is that I've been doing it one at a time.
What if I did thousands?
I'm going to do a whole planet. Will that make you proud of me, Daddy? And weirdly, Dr. Soong is like, no, that also sucks. Back on the Enterprise, they're like, okay, we got the Denobulan woman. And it occurred to me, like, is the entire crew of Station 12 and this Denobulan woman just, like, on the Enterprise? Like, just kind of hanging out while they're doing all this dangerous shit?
No, didn't they leave the crew of C-12 back on CS-12?
That's what I thought, yeah.
Oh, okay, so they just got this lady then. Oh, okay. We get a single moment in this show, in this episode, where T'Pol and Tucker are trying to have, like, a thing.
Yeah.
Which... like, it would be one thing if this was kind of going on throughout all 3 episodes, but this is literally the only time this has happened.
Did it happen in the first episode too?
Maybe,
I feel like there was like a one-scene
there was like that
conversation.
one brief moment of like, how was your honeymoon?
Much like this one.
Yeah.
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 It felt like a checkbox that they had to check before they moved on.
This was like, oh, well, this is a major thing that happened in one of those episodes. We should probably say something about it.
Right. But T'Pol's like, da-da-da, yeah, I'm married, whatever, it sucks. Tucker's like, I'm proud of you for going through with that, even if I don't want you to be married to him. And then he's like...
which is a weird sentiment to me.
It is a weird sentiment, but yeah, okay, whatever. And then Tucker's like, we wouldn't have made a very good couple. A Vulcan and a human. Well, Romeo and Juliet probably stood a better chance. Which, like... Romeo and Juliet's issue weren't that they weren't a good couple. Like, that wasn't what that play was about.
It's a family issue in that one.
Yeah, it wasn't that, like, they just weren't going to work out. Like,
it's not like the Vulcans are feuding with the humans.
We go back to the Klingon ship. This is where I said Jesus Christ with the tactical tears in this woman's clothing, because Persis' outfit is just so many windows to her flesh in uncomfortable places. I don't know why the costume department decided to dress her like this. I mean, I know why, but like,
it was all of them. But yeah, she just got the most screen time, so it was especially egregious for her.
Well, to be fair, she is the one that can act out of them.
Yeah.
Malik's like, hey, Dad doesn't want to kill everybody. And she's like, oh no. And he's like, well, so we're going to have to deal with Dad. So they go over to Soong's lab. He's like mixing things together in like flask. It looks like he's filming a kid's science show right now. like Klingon lab with Dr. Soong. Hi, I'm Dr. Soong. And he's just mixing like fucking Bronthymol Blue and an Alka-Seltzer tablet or some shit. I don't know what he's doing.
Oh my god.
Malik, Purse, and the another couple of no-named augments show up, and they're like, you're not allowed to be, like, we're taking control. Fuck you. And Spiner is kind of a dick the whole time. Anyways, come back to the Enterprise. They're being intercepted by a Klingon. This is the only scene in this that was like kind of okay, although still had its own moments of stupidity.
But wait. How far away were they?
Well, they were almost in visual range.
But do you
inside
remember
the warp fields.
Do you remember how many minutes away they were?
2.
2 minutes. Okay. Continue.
Okay. So Archer pretends to be a Klingon through their translator and then is like talking about how they're on a secret mission and the Klingon has to let them go and the Klingon believes them. It's in this stuff. And then at the end, the Klingon says Kapla, which the translator doesn't translate because translators. And so Archer says Kapla back and then that's it. Does this scene take longer than 2 minutes? Is that your point, Rob?
No, continue.
Get back to Spiner. Purse has decided to free her dad. Once again, we're using a Klingon escape pod, which later series have told us don't exist, but whatever. She loads Spiner into a escape pod so that he can be picked up by Enterprise so that they can stop Malik from doing the genocide. Speaking of poop, the Klingon bird of prey just kind of poops out this pod, and when we get back from the commercial break, we get a perspective of the grapplers we have not had yet, which is like what people hear when they are hit by the grapplers. It was like ka-chunk, ka-chunk, and Spider's like, "What the hell?" And then like this reeling, and he kind of like gets reeled in. And then here we get the problematic genetic speech.
Yeah.
Where Spiner's like, I didn't know they'd be evil and ambitious and murdery. And Archer says it's in their nature. Superior ability breeds superior ambition. Like, this real problematic shit. But like, again, because they're talking about genetic super mutants, I guess it's okay.
Right.
But like, yeah, it's not great.
Still feels icky.
I learned in CK3 that sometimes you just can't get rid of bad genetics.
So true, man.
The old Herdiger dynasty.
My entire fucking family of leaders.
Oh my god, I forgot about the Herdiger dynasty. Oh jeez. Oh, fucking Habsburgs. We cut back to the bird of prey where Purse does show that she does have some clothing that doesn't have titty windows in it. Because she's wearing like a blue undershirt and like boxers. It still has holes in it though.
It does still have holes in it, and her nipples are really fucking pronounced, and the camera lingers.
Oh yeah.
There's some lingering camera. Yeah.
That was a 90s, early 2000s special technique right there.
Are the augments always sweaty?
So I assumed that they were sweaty because it was supposed to be they had just had sex. Like that was the implication of the sweat. But yes, I also noticed just how sweaty these people were in this sequence.
Dude, it was through the whole episode.
I mean, the Klingon ships are probably hot, right? Because isn't Kronos like really hot?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Although they're also like super mutants. Like, do they need to sweat this much? I don't know.
Keeps them extra cool.
It turns out that the hyper intelligent, super genetic, crazy, smart human woman used her code to get Soong off the ship that only like 3 other people have access to. So her boyfriend figured that the fuck out because obviously he did. These are the stupidest hyper intelligent people I've ever met. She pulls out a Klingon dagger and he goes, "Come on, fight me." And she sucks at fighting. Like, it's like really, really bad. And so then he stabs her. The Enterprise is intercepted by Klingons that aren't quite as stupid as the previous ones.
Oh, but wait, how many minutes away were they?
It's fun fact, Rob, they're actually 2 minutes away.
Yeah, okay, cool. Continue.
So they're like, well, I guess we're doing the same thing. It didn't work this time. Sung's on the bridge with Archer, and he goes, Archer, if I may. And then says like a tiny shitty amount of Klingon, and that obviously doesn't work. I don't know what the purpose of that little scene was.
That was very like uncle energy, just like trying to like show off and just like totally like, failing.
You go to like the Mexican restaurant in town,
right? Yeah.
But it's like a Margaritaville. Like it's not even like a real Mexican place.
And it's uno taco order, por favor.
Yeah, I'm gonna order for everybody because I know.
Dude, this is how I felt. Now, listen, this is no shade at this restaurant. I actually really love it. But Taco John's. Like, of all of the names that you could give a, like, Tex-Mex establishment, Taco John's is the most Midwestern name for a taco establishment.
Yeah, but if they'd called it Taco Juan, it would sound probably a little racist.
Right.
Oh, God.
Taco John's start.
It's probably is it by like a Mexican person?
Listen,
I will say I've never even heard of a Taco John's.
It started in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Yeah, I started seeing them in Indiana, and they were in Missoula, Montana when we got there.
Like, I mean, Wyoming is like...
Believe it or not, the guy who started it was John K. Turner.
All right, that's not helpful, no.
What's Taco John's?
All right. So, their plan to get away from the vastly superior Klingon ship is, and I am not making this up, they use the grappler to pull the Klingon's pylon apart, because apparently the Klingon pylon is just weaker than the spindly, shitty little grappler arm that couldn't pick up a shuttle off a comet.
Listen, all I'm saying is every Federation vessel better have these grapplers in the future.
Yeah, they are handy, apparently. So they incapacitate the Klingon ship with a grappler and then go to warp. Back on the Bird of Prey, we're running simulations, and they said that they want to fire the genocide torpedo into a certain part of the planet to, quote, maximize the number of casualties. Now, earlier he said that this pathogen would kill every living thing on the planet in the course of 3 days. I'm not sure you could maximize the number past all of the living things. Like, I'm not sure what efficacy you're looking for at this point. It's already 100%. All things that are alive will be dead. What are you maximizing?
Efficiency.
Their targeting system isn't working very well, so they're going to have to, like, fly real close to this whole ass planet in order to hit it. Because they can't just, like, shoot it. Because, like, it's a planet. How would you ever hit that? So they're flying in, Enterprise warps in, they fire the torpedo.
Wait.
Oh.
How far away was Enterprise when they realized that Enterprise was chasing them? How many minutes?
Wait, actually, you know what? Fun fact, Rob, it was 2 minutes.
Yeah. Crazy. Okay, continue.
It's the rule of threes.
Yeah.
They fire the torpedo, Enterprise comes out of warp. Their plan is to fire their torpedoes to intercept the other torpedo, because I guess our torpedoes are faster.
They're just fucking faster, yeah.
Yeah. It's very much like that scene in Suicide Squad where it's like, I can shoot like better than your bullet. It's like, how? Because I use smaller bullets. Like, what the fuck? It works. Okay, great. Then they start shooting at the Bird of Prey. The Bird of Prey shooting back. It's not working. They are going to shoot the bridge, but Sung's like, no! And you think for a moment it's because he doesn't want his kids to die, but he's like, no!
He's like, fuck
that
kids.
Won't work, you idiots! Shoot here at this skinny, vulnerable part that all Klingon birds of prey have. And he's like, oh yeah, that is a smarter move. So they shoot at that, and it works. Malik, like, and the bridge gets blown up. Malik is like clambering over his dead siblings, although there are still some alive ones on the ship. 12 alive ones out of like 19 or whatever they started with. But Malik instead engages the auto self fall to pieces system, and the ship starts falling to pieces. Dramatic end to Malik.
Because the whole, like, why? Why would you do that?
So he like kills himself and everybody on the ship.
I think it was just despite his not dad.
Despite his dad and all the embryos too, actually, because they were still on that ship.
Like, why though?
So,
this makes no sense.
Okay, but then we're not done.
Yeah,
because we're walking Dr. Sung to crew quarters.
Archer is best friends with now.
Yeah, they're basically best buds now. And Malik pops out of the ventilation shaft. Now, I know that I'm not the most attentive person. In fact, clinically, I'm diagnosed with being inattentive. But I could not figure out how the fuck he got there.
It is never explained.
Okay, cool.
Theoretically,
it's one of his augment powers.
I guess
theoretically, Klingons do have like transporters.
They
right?
do have transport technology. We found that out in that dumb Kurosawa episode.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I guess he beamed over to Enterprise, but also into the vent.
It's the tactically superior position.
He gets down, he jumps down, starts fighting, and then he's like, Sung's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm going to kill you, Dad." And then Archer shoots a hole clean through his stomach.
Right, but didn't hit Sung, by the way.
He doesn't hit Sung, which kills him instantly. We get this odd camera shot through the hole, which is
turned
like
him into a donut.
A little gruesome, but like, all right. My note here is holy fuck. It's like, and he used like one of the Mako rifles. Like he's just like, yeah, you don't have a hole in you, fuck you. And then Malik falls over dead. Yeah. Sung is taken back to the Starfleet prison. Where he says, you know what? Maybe all this genetic research isn't the way to go.
Hurdy-gurdy.
Maybe I should start working on artificial people. Like an android. Get it, everyone? It's gonna be Data! God, I fucking hate this show.
No. The best quote, though, is, might take a generation or two. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
No, they didn't.
They fucking did. They fucking
100%. 100%.
Come off it.
No,
I beg your pardon.
It was
so
horrendous.
bad. So anyways, that's the episode. On a scale from 1 to 5, where 0 is threshold, how are we feeling?
It's a 2 again. I mean, it was dumb.
Got to see Grapplers, 4 stars, no notes.
Are you just genuinely a 4?
Yeah, it's a 4. This was fun. It was fun.
I gave it a 2. Having to talk through it almost made me go down a little bit. Especially because of the wings to the audience, but I stayed at a 2. All 3 of these were 2s for me. IMDb agrees with Rob because they suck. And this does indeed continue the trend of me not liking LeVar Burton as a director. Whee! Oh, God. All right, well, when we get back, we will get into my deep dive. Welcome back. So today for deep dive, this will be, it won't be that long, but I want to talk about the Botany Bay. No, not that one. The real world Botany Bay that the ship is named after.
Oh, this will be fun.
So, do y'all know what the Botany Bay is named after? If you were paying attention to this episode, they did mention it.
They did.
It was named after Botany Bay.
Good, perfect. No notes. All right, thanks everybody. That was my deep dive. The Botany Bay, for those who are not quite as up on their Star Trek trivia, the Botany Bay is the ship that Khan was on in the original episode Starseed, as well as the one that crashed, or they left them on SETI Alpha 5. And so it kind of showed up in Wrath of Khan as well. It is named after a place in Australia that was used as a penal colony, which, if I'm honest, a little on the nose for naming the ship that. Because I'm not really sure what Earth's plan was with the Botany Bay, because it's like, well, we don't have the death penalty. We're too civilized for that. So we're going to put them into cryogenic sleep and send them into space where no one will ever recover them.
No. Khan escaped on the Botany Bay. He went on that on purpose.
Then why did they name it the Botany Bay?
I don't know.
Because writers think they're clever.
That's stupid. Anyways, that's not what this deep dive is about. This deep dive is about the place in Australia. So here's a fun fact that I learned today. As we all know, Australia is a den of hive and villain. Is a hive of scum and villainy, also known as a penal colony. Back in the day, do you all know why Australia was chosen as a penal colony?
I feel like I had heard the reason for this at one point, but I don't remember what it is.
It's real funny.
Was it because of the emus?
No, I'll give you a hint. They decided in the 1780s.
Like
the revolution?
Correct.
Thing?
Yeah, they used to just send their fucking prisoners to us, but they weren't allowed to do that anymore because we became our own little country. So they're like, well, fuck, now we need a new place. And so they found Australia. Botany Bay was first discovered by was discovered by Europeans by a guy named Cook, I believe. He's the big Australian
Captain
guy.
Cook.
Yeah. Obviously there were like 60,000 years of like Aboriginal, like indigenous history there before that. Don't worry. Cook et al. Give them smallpox and most of them die. So, Europeans, fuck. But anyways, Botany Bay is a small bay in Australia that was originally going to be named something slightly different, but hold on, I had this written down. What the fuck is it? Oh, Stingray Bay. It was going to be named Stingray Bay because they found a bunch of stingrays there. Go figure. However, Cook instead was like, yeah, there's a bunch of plants that my botanists are really into, so I'm going to call it Botanist Bay. But then in his journal, he actually scratched out the word botanist and wrote botany instead because he thought it sounded better.
I mean, he's right.
He is right. Botanist Bay does sound stupider than Botany Bay. Botany Bay is actually a fun little name. It's just fun to say. Old timey like nautical journals are fun. This was in the 6th of May, 1770, because the nautical journal, I have an actual date. 18 years later, they're like, we need to start sending our criminals here because we can't send them to the colonies anymore because they're not colonies or whatever. So the first fleet is dispatched with a bunch of prisoners. The idea was that like these are prisoners that are like they can't just put them to death because they're not that criminal, but like we don't want them around and keeping them in jail is expensive. So why don't we just exile them to a colony? They send them to Botany Bay, where it turns out that place is really fucking not great for actually like living. There was not enough fresh water. The ground was not fertile. The trees were so hard, it broke their axes.
Oh yeah, like Australian hardwood is ridiculous.
Yeah, they ended up having to use dynamite to blow these trees out so they could like get enough wood to build their first little shitty town.
Oh my God.
And then immediately we're like, this place sucks. Let's get out of here. The guy who was in charge of this expedition was told, like, go set up a colony in Botany Bay. After they tried for like a few weeks, they're like, this is not working out. So instead, he actually had the power to slightly change where the colony was. So he moved north to a different bay, which was larger.
Better Bay.
What?
It was Better Bay.
Better Bay. It was larger, had a good supply of like fresh water. The ground was not much more fertile, but we'll get back to that in a second. This place was, I'm sorry, I guess it's not really a bay. It's called a natural harbor. I don't know if that's the synonymous with bay, but it is Port Jackson. Do you know where that is today?
Is it in Botany Bay?
It is not. It's north of Botany Bay. Would you say, Chris?
Okay, I know where it is then. It's north of Botany Bay.
I've heard of it, but I don't know geographically where it is in Australia.
This is Sydney.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So the first successful penal colony is actually Sydney town.
Oh, that's funny.
It is fun. Now, they moved north to Port Jackson and founded Sydney. The wood there was, I guess, a little easier to chop. There was actually like a freshwater stream that like was good enough to drink and like plentiful enough. The ground, not much more fertile. They had a bunch of crop failures and ended up living on rations until like 2 more supply fleets showed up to feed them until they could finally get like enough of the ground worked to make it fertile enough to grow something. I'm not much of an agricultural person, so I don't understand how that works, but I guess like if you try hard enough on infertile ground, you can eventually make it fertile enough to grow some shit.
Weird.
What about like pH has a lot to do with it?
Maybe. Or the nitrogen content, maybe.
Yeah.
Is that why they brought the rabbits?
That happened later, I believe. I wasn't going to go into an entire history of Australia, just like this colony. Despite the fact that they moved north, because British people don't give a shit, they still called the colony Botany Bay, like back at home, even though it was nowhere near Botany Bay anymore.
Well, as we've discussed, it sounds cooler.
It does sound cooler than Port Jackson, yeah. Or Sydney Town. Okay, so, or excuse me, 30,000 years for the Aboriginal. Australia's not 60,000. Okay, and, yeah, so they set up Sydney Town. Let's see, Britain had to start sending their convicts there to Australia because America was no longer available to them. They sucked at farming, like I said, and then they killed more than half of the Aboriginals with a smallpox outbreak because they had been isolated for, like tens of thousands of years, so they had no immunity to smallpox whatsoever, among other diseases, but smallpox was like the big one. And then I guess the colony just kind of went okay, because the next real noteworthy shit was like Napoleonic Wars and stuff. So yeah, it's one of those things where as an American, I was aware that Australia was a penal colony first.
Right.
There's a whole Simpsons episode about it, etc. But I didn't know anything about it because I'm not from Australia, so we don't learn Australian history. I guess in my brain, I had not thought that Sydney itself was the first one, I would have assumed, because Sydney's the only town in Australia that I know anything about,
The only thing I know, geography wise, is you can basically comfortably live on the East Coast or part of the West Coast, and then everything in between is just the outback.
It's just a desert. Yeah, it's basically just a huge fucking desert. Yeah, Australia's pretty inhospitable place, as it turns out. But what they do, they have a lot of fish, and so they were fishing a lot. Probably too much, if we're honest.
Humans be fishing.
Humans be fishing. So yeah, so that is what the ship in Star Trek is named after, is the Botany Bay. Cute little history lesson for us. And that's really all I had. So I guess we will be back with a potpourri from Chris.
All right, welcome back, everybody. All right, so as I kind of alluded to earlier, doing a little Bird of Prey trivia for our potpourri. Bird of Prey, obviously a ship that has been featured in many Star Trek episodes and many different series, and obviously in these ones we were hanging out on a Bird of Prey for quite a bit of it. So I've got 10 questions. We're just going to do, first to the buzzer. Forewarning, you were probably not going to get several of these.
I can't,
Okay.
There's a chance that this is going to be about actual, hawks and shit.
It's not. No, this is all Star Trek. All Star
Oh,
Trek.
okay.
I thought that's where you were going, Chris, to be honest.
but that-
you're in search of friends.
that
That's
would've been
something I
fun.
would do.
Yeah, that is
That's
something you
definitely a
would do.
me move. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'd play their bird cries backwards and make Chris mad.
Oh, God. All right. You ready?
Yippers.
All right. First question. Who used a Klingon bird of prey to travel back in time?
Kirk.
Oh, Rob said it first. All right. Next question. What unique ability did General Chang's bird of prey possess that he used to assassinate Chancellor Gorkon?
It could fire while cloaked.
Yes, that's right. It could fire torpedoes while cloaked. All right, next one. Man, we're cruising through these. How many classes of birds of prey are mentioned in Star Trek?
Fuck, I
3.
knew you were going to ask that. I think it's 4.
4 is correct.
No!
You have the Cavort, the Burrell, the D12, and the Class 5. Very common uniform naming structure here.
Yeah, and And like it is inconsistent as to how big these things are. Like one of them is like
Yep.
like the size, like able to hold a crew of like 6 or 7 people, but another one's able to hold like a crew of like 40.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, very inconsistent.
But they're like identical on the outside, just like scaled up.
Right. Yep. Who was the first human to capture a Klingon bird of prey?
The first human?
Malik.
Mm-hmm. It's an augment. He doesn't count.
Oh, you fucking suck. Oh, you suck.
Michael Burnham.
Nope. It was Captain Kirk.
Was it?
Yeah, that's probably what my next guess was.
All right. Similar question. Who was the first Cardassian to capture a Klingon bird of prey?
Garrick?
Incorrect. Stanford?
The attention Bajoran workers guy.
What's his
Gul
name?
Dukat. Gul Dukat.
You got it.
Oh,
Dukat. It was Gul Dukat.
Oh, it was? Oh shit.
Yeah.
It's like literally the only other one I could think of is like maybe the one that was interrogating Picard, but like I couldn't.
Yeah. All right. Why do the Romulans and Klingons have a ship that has the same name? And we're not talking about canon reason. We're talking about behind the scenes reason.
Oh. I'm embarrassed
they...
to admit I think I only know the canon reason, but I knew the canon reason existed because it was stupid, but I couldn't remember. I didn't know there was an actual.
Was it because they painted a bird on it?
Wait, I have a guess.
Okay, go ahead.
They mixed up the models?
No. So it was in the early drafts of Search for Spock, the bird of prey was suggested as having been stolen, like a Romulan bird of prey being stolen by the Klingon commander from the Romulans. Later script versions dropped the ship's connection to the Romulans, but the craft's designation as bird of prey remained unchanged.
I'm gonna be honest, like there. Give me a moment to soapbox here. Since we're moving through these pretty quick, anyways. I think it's actually better if they are not related whatsoever, because it is proof that like it doesn't matter like what your species is. Birds of prey are fucking cool. Like a hawk is badass. No matter who you are. So it makes sense for like, because like I actually had this idea because like a while ago someone came up with what they called like this grad student, this like art grad student as like a thesis, came up with like what he thought would be a good like planet Earth flag, and it was like a blue flag with these white circles representing the numbers of continents all in the middle and like a flower pattern. Very cool flag, very very subtle. And like, kind of like, subdued, not garish or anything. Great. And I had this idea that like, it would be very awkward if we showed up and it's like, welcome to the Galactic Federation. It turns out almost everyone had like very similar flags because it's like blue is water and like white for all the continents and shit. Like, because like there's a lot of universalisms to life. So
sure.
I think that it's a better story if like, yeah, it's just that the Klingons and the Romulans both on their planets had birds of prey and they thought that was badass. So they named a ship after it.
Yeah.
Like,
it turns out
that's cool.
Like, the universe has two very common examples of convergent evolution. It's crabs and birds of prey.
And fucking hawks. Yeah, absolutely. And like, I don't know. Because people are always like, well, obviously the bird of prey came from the Romulans. Look, it's green. But it looks nothing like any of the other Romulan ships except for its color. Because, like, it looks wicked and cool, like a Klingon ship. Like, it looks like a Klingon ship.
I feel like you've talked more than I have in this segment so far now.
That was my soapbox. I yield back my time.
You mean you yield back the time you stole from me? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right, next question. What is the standard weapon complement of a bird of prey?
Disruptors.
What does that mean?
What weapons are on it?
Two disruptors and a photon torpedo.
Yes. I think Stanford finished first. All right. What siblings had commanded a pair of birds of prey? What Klingon siblings?
Clang and Bang.
Incorrect. Stanford?
It wasn't those sisters, was it? Like they were just sharing the one.
What was their name?
Oh shit! Fuck, man, I don't remember. They're the ones who kidnapped Jordy. They had the tit windows in their uniforms. Dude, I do
Correct.
not remember their names.
It was the Duras sisters.
The Duras sisters. Okay,
Oh,
yeah. Now that you said
yeah.
it. I didn't know
Alright.
they had 2 birds of prey.
They did, yeah.
Huh.
They were on one of them. But
Yeah, I guess I don't remember a sequence with more than one at the same time, but
Yeah.
they may have said that they heard more than one.
Yeah. The D12 class was retired because of what faulty component? As a hint, the Enterprise used a low-level ionic pulse to reset them, causing the cloak to activate.
Hold on. I'm just dorky enough to know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, because it reset them so the cloak fired because that shut down their shield so that
Yep, this is correct.
So yeah, because that's where Jonathan Frakes goes fire. And it's like this fucking moment where it was actually he's a good actor.
Yeah.
I want to say it was the batteries.
It's not.
It was the dilithium subrelay.
Good technobabble guess.
Good guess, yeah. Shit.
Plasma coils. I think I'm going to give Stanford the point because he knows what I was talking about, though. And that was a hard one.
Do I need the point?
You don't.
Yeah, I was going to say he
I'm gonna
definitely
give it to you
anyway.
2, 4, 5. You won 5-2.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that was the
gonna say,
last
like,
one? Jesus Christ. He can have that point then.
All right. Well, that wraps up our potpourri for the episode. As Stanford said at the top, please rate, review, subscribe, do all those things. That helps us quite a bit. And tell our friends. And we will catch you next time.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Captain's Log Supplemental. You can follow us on Twitter at PodCLS or send us hate mail at podcls3@gmail.com.